I'd like to order lunch for the next 10 years. Is that possible? On the brink of closing, my family's diner was in a tough spot. The one who placed the order was a woman as beautiful as a model. Faced with this unexpected order, both my parents and I were stunned. Then the woman who ordered started chuckling at the sight of us. Is 10 years too short? How about 30 years? Seeing her mischievously smiling, I was reminded of an old friend. My name is Michael. This year, I'll turn 29. Currently, I work at my family's diner, run by my dad, mom, and me, a family of 3. We're not rich, but we're happy. Our diner is a local eatery frequented occasionally by my high school classmates. I grew up in this neighborhood. I attended a local public high school. I wasn't particularly bright, but I spent 3 fulfilling years having fun with my classmates. There was a girl I was interested in. Her name was Emily, and we were in the same class for 3 years. She was slim and pretty like a model. On the other hand, I wasn't much of a looker. I didn't have enough confidence to pursue someone out of my league. What concerned me was her pale complexion. Emily was popular with the boys. She was respected by the girls, but no one seemed to notice her pallor. But I couldn't bring myself to mention it. In that way, I couldn't take my eyes off her. In high school, we brought our own lunch. My mom always nagged me to eat 3 meals a day, no matter what. Being from a diner family, my lunch was always hearty. It was enough to satisfy any growing boy. However, Emily always skipped lunch. One day, I asked one of her close friends about it. Why doesn't Emily eat her lunch? I somehow felt uneasy asking her directly. Oh, Emily is on a diet. She only eats 2 meals a day. It's amazing how thin she is, Emily's friend told me. Why do girls want to be so thin? I couldn't understand. Well, I guess that's just how it is. I was concerned, but that's where I left it. Then one day something happened. Emily's friend was absent. The friend I usually eat lunch with was called away for a club activity. Emily, as usual, was studying alone during lunchtime. While others were spreading out their lunch, Emily, is it okay if I sit here? Curious, I took the seat in front of her. The class was noisy, and no one paid any mind to us. Oh, yeah, Emily replied. Aren't you eating lunch? I heard you were on a diet. As I said that, I opened my own lunch. Yes, that's right, but take care not to ruin your health. Everyone says you're slim and praises you, but you look pale. When I said that, Emily stopped what she was doing. Her smile from earlier was gone. Her face was tense, and I froze, wondering if I had said something wrong. And no, but I do think you're beautiful. What I meant wasn't that you're unattractive or anything. Sorry, that was a poor choice of words. I really didn't mean any harm. Being on a diet is important too. I apologized. After hearing that, Emily's expression softened a bit. No, it's okay. You were just worried, right? With her smile, I hesitated and then took out sandwiches wrapped in plastic that I had brought separately for my lunch. Yeah, I'm worried, so this is me being meddlesome. Throw it away if it's a bother. I placed the sandwiches on Emily's desk. No, but really, don't throw it away. It's really good. Try it. I said that and stopped eating my lunch. Did you know my family runs a diner? A diner, the Harrisons' diner near the station. I'm the son of the diner owners. That's why it's good, I said. Emily hesitantly reached for the sandwiches. She took a small bite. For some reason, I felt relieved watching her as I continued eating my lunch. I had a sniffle. Emily. When I asked, Emily, with tears in her eyes, muttered, "It's delicious." My heart tightened. I had a feeling that something was up. If it's okay with you, I could be someone to talk to. There must be things you can't tell your friends, right? And with my words, Emily started to speak, little by little. I have a younger brother and sister. They're still little. I listened quietly to her story. But my father passed away 3 years ago, and now my mom is supporting us all by herself. So, I do the housework and take care of my siblings, even dropping them off and picking them up from daycare. I also cook the meals. Emily carefully took small bites of the sandwiches I gave her. Tears fell onto the sandwiches. So, we don't have much money. I can't work because I have to take care of my brother and sister. But even in such a situation, my mom let me continue my studies. So I feel like I have to endure everything, wiping her tears. Emily said that with a smile. My dinner is usually leftovers for my brother and sister, and I hardly have time for breakfast. But I have to keep going. After listening quietly, I spoke up. Come and eat at our place. Bring your brother and sister too. Thank you, but I can't afford it. And just your thought is enough, Emily invited. But everyone thought she was on a diet. What was she really feeling? I had no idea about her situation and carelessly commented on her pale complexion. I never imagined she had such circumstances. I never thought about the happiness of being able to have 3 meals a day. So maybe you're saying that I looked pale wasn't completely wrong, but it's for reasons like that. So don't worry about it. Thanks for worrying about me. You're the only one who noticed, Michael. It surprised me, Emily said, smiling. I couldn't smile. Don't worry about it. That's impossible, of course, after hearing about her situation. I waged my brain, though not the brightest, wondering what I could do. But there's not much someone like me can actually do. So I simply thought of helping her. Emily, here you go. The next day when lunchtime came, I approached Emily and placed a sandwich on her desk. As expected, Emily looked surprised. Michael, didn't I say Emily doesn't eat lunch? One of Emily's friends asked me. Yeah, but I want to give it, so it's okay. Emily stared at the sandwich on the desk. It's from Harrison's Diner, their special club sandwich. Be grateful and eat. Emily, you're a bit too thin. Saying that, I returned to my seat. Was it okay? Was it unnatural? Emily talked with her friend for a bit and then said to me, "Thank you," gratefully. She smiled brightly, and I felt a deep relief. Since then, I continued to give Emily a sandwich every day. Soon, everyone in the class knew about it. Hey, Michael, you like Emily, don't you? One of my classmates said that to me. It was when I was giving a sandwich to Emily. What? No, Emily, concerned about me, tried to refute it. She probably understood why I was giving her the sandwiches, but I didn't want her circumstances to be known. Is it a problem? The whole class buzzed at my words. You silly, right? If you're trying to impress Emily, there are better things than carbs every day. If you really liked her, you wouldn't do that. The classmate mocked and ridiculed me. But I retorted, I'm the son of the Harrison Diner. I'm just giving her the sandwiches I think are most valuable. At that, the classmate tried to mock me again, but Emily's friend countered with a solid argument. It's none of your business, right? Thanks to that, no one else said anything to me. Emily kept saying, I feel guilty, and that's enough. But I said, if you don't eat it, just throw it away, and continued giving her sandwiches until graduation. I thought doing anything more would surely burden Emily, so that was all I felt I could do. Until graduation, no one discovered Emily's family situation. I sometimes worried that my actions were a nuisance, but on graduation day, her words to me, I will never forget your kindness, meant everything. Afterward, I went to culinary school. I got my chef's license and started my journey as a cook, aiming to protect our precious family diner, Harrison Diner. After graduating, I got a job at a traditional American restaurant. There, I learned the basics of American cuisine. I could have joined a family business right away, but my dad was still active, and Mom was also working hard alongside Dad. It didn't seem like there was a role for me yet. In Dad's words, "Don't waste the chance to learn," allowed me to acquire skills I wouldn't have learned at home. After working at the restaurant for about 5 years, I returned home. At first, there were clashes with Dad over the differences between the traditional restaurant and our diner. I complained about how the stock was made, or got scolded for changing the seasoning on my own. But fundamentally, whether it was the restaurant or a family diner, Dad, Mom, and I were the same. We all just wanted our customers to enjoy delicious food, that's all. This isn't a fancy restaurant. Customers come here for good food, not just fancy stock, Dad said. I know your stock is tasty, but if it increases costs, we have to change our prices. We have our own way of doing things. Don't compare us to others. That's not why I told you to learn, Dad said. These words made me reflect deeply. Without realizing it, I had been comparing our diner to the restaurant. I was trying to change what was good about our place. Sorry, I was wrong, I apologized. Dad silently accepted my apology. Seeing this, Mom just quietly smiled, looking pleased. From then on, I saw Dad as my master and learned cooking from him. Of course, my experience in the restaurant wasn't wasted. I learned to make dishes using stock ingredients and to add vegetable scraps to the stock, among other things. Ah, the stock has more depth now, Dad acknowledged. We became partners in protecting Harrison Diner. But those days didn't last long. Though we were in a prime location near the station, the competition was fierce. Just about 2 years ago, a fast food chain opened, and about a year ago, a family-style restaurant. The arrival of these two competitors clearly dealt a major blow to our business. Office workers preferred the quick service of the family-style restaurant, and students liked the hearty meat and fried food of the fast food chain. To adapt, we introduced quicker pasta and started offering takeout, including fried food combos aimed at students. However, we couldn't compete with the chain stores that offered cheaper meals due to their bulk purchasing power. This diner, where I grew up since I was little, as I grew older, I worked alongside Dad, trying various strategies to keep it going. But the number of customers dwindled, and we had many days that felt like we were closed even when we were open. Our regulars and friends who occasionally visited would say, "Don't give up and keep going." But it was hard to know what more we could do. That day we had no customers at all. The diner was eerily quiet during lunchtime. "Maybe we should close the diner," I said, and Dad responded, "Yeah, I think so. We've reached our limit." His voice, resigned and sad, echoed in my heart, and Mom just looked down. I felt like crying, seeing the two of them like that. "Sorry, I know you did your best, but sometimes things just end, no matter what." Dad patted my shoulder. He was probably more inclined to cry than I was. The silence was broken by the sound of the door opening. We instinctively looked up. "Hello," I said brightly, as if to blow away the heavy air from earlier. Even if we were closing, I wanted to cherish every customer until the end. "Hello, how are you?" echoed Dad and Mom, also brightening up. The person who entered wasn't a regular. She was a slender, beautiful woman I didn't recognize. "Please, have a seat here," Mom offered as she removed her sunglasses. The woman said, No, I'm not here for a meal. Dad, Mom, and I froze at her words. Then the woman looked at me and smiled. I'd like to order lunch for the next 10 years. Is that possible? I blurted out. Surprised, both of my parents were equally stunned by this unexpected order. Then the woman chuckled at our reaction. Is 10 years too short? How about 30 years? She joked with a mischievous smile. That smile triggered a memory in me. Hey, it's been a while, Michael. It was her. I stepped forward. Emily, is that you? Wow, it's been so long. Yes, the beautiful woman was Emily, the same classmate I used to give sandwiches to in high school. The unexpected reunion filled me with joy. Mom, make some coffee. Come on, have a seat, I urged, but Emily laughed. I'm not here for a meal. I wanted to order some lunch. I tilted my head in confusion. While Mom prepared the coffee, we sat facing each other at the table. What do you mean? And what are you up to now? Are you doing well? I asked, and Emily replied, You didn't know. I'm kind of a celebrity now. Emily began her story about her life after graduating from high school. Apparently, she was introduced to a cooking class by a senior at the company where she worked as an office clerk. The class focused on nutritious and budget-friendly cooking. Being new, the class offered her a spot as a monitor. Concerned about her own pale complexion, which I had pointed out, and constantly worrying about her siblings' health, Emily was drawn to the class's focus on nutritious and budget-friendly cooking. Emily began arranging the recipes she learned in her cooking class and sharing them on social media. Of course, she knew there were people who couldn't afford to attend cooking classes, so she thought that by sharing her knowledge, she could help someone. Her teacher was pleased with her promotion and happily allowed her to continue. As a result, Emily's social media followers rapidly increased. This led to a book deal with a publisher, where she co-authored a recipe book with her cooking teacher. Well, that's amazing, I said, smiling. I was genuinely happy for her. It seems like Emily's success is telling me that what I did was not a mistake. Well, it might be a bit of pride on my part. And now I'm a YouTuber and a culinary researcher, doing my own broadcasts, she added. A YouTuber? I exclaimed, surprised. And Emily laughed. Is it that surprising? The idea of being a YouTuber often implies being quite famous. It made sense when Emily mentioned she was somewhat of a celebrity. She seemed like someone from a different world. That made her reason for being here even more puzzling. She must have sensed my confusion and explained, Actually, a girl from our class who I was close with told me that Harrison Diner was going through tough times. I wanted to see if there was anything I could do, so I came today. I see, thank you, I said, expressing my gratitude. Emily then said, I should be the one thanking you. You don't know how much you helped me back then. It wasn't just the sandwiches, but also your thoughtfulness and kindness. I looked up at her. The person I am today is because of you, Michael. You pointed out my pale complexion and provided those sandwiches, which are from here. So, for this diner, I'll order for 10 years, 20 years, however long it takes. Now it's my turn to help you. Tears welled up in my eyes. Thank you, I managed to say, and she just smiled happily. I'll deliver lunch every day, I promised. Could you also make them for my brother and sister? They need lunch for school every day, she asked, tears streaming down my face as I repeatedly nodded at her words. After that, Emily and I kept in regular contact. It wasn't just about the lunch. I didn't want to let this opportunity Emily gave me go to waste. Swallowing my pride, I asked Emily to teach me about cooking. I can't let pride waste an opportunity to learn, I thought. That was something Dad had told me after I graduated from culinary school. We started focusing on budget-friendly cooking to cut costs and creating nutritious meals to differentiate from other eateries. This approach attracted a younger clientele and, thanks to social media, brought in customers of all ages. Our diner regained its bustling atmosphere and our business stabilized. Emily promoted Harrison Diner's secret recipes on her YouTube channel, which also brought us great publicity. We built a new friendship, supporting and being supported by each other. One day while chatting, I said to Emily, "Hey, why don't you come and eat here with your brother and sister? You've been having our lunch, but you've never visited the diner, right? Your mom is welcome too." Emily was delighted by my invitation. Back in high school, I had once suggested bringing your brother and sister along, but at that time, Emily declined, saying she couldn't afford it. Of course, I never intended to charge her then or now. I just wanted to make her happy. On the day of closing, I opened the diner and cooked for the 4 of them. "What would you like to order?" I asked. They looked at each other and then said, "Some sandwiches, please, sandwiches." I was taken aback. Sandwiches weren't on the menu. Although I used to boast about Harrison Diner's special sandwiches, those were just something Mom made. "I really wanted my mom, brother, and sister to taste your family sandwiches," Emily said. To her, those sandwiches were something special. I smiled and served them a simple meal of sandwiches, soup, and salad. Watching them happily savouring the food was incredibly fulfilling. Afterward, Emily's brother and sister left with their mother for their evening classes. They thanked me, looking happy, which I appreciated greatly. Left alone, Emily offered to help with the dishes, but I declined. It was my job after all. "It was really delicious. Thank you for making it again," she said. "Well, back then, it was either Mom or me who made them, but actually it was mostly Mom," I confessed. I knew it. There were times when they were a bit different, she laughed. "Really sorry, that must have been me," as I hardly apologized. Emily shook her head, laughing. "No, I was happy, and even when they teased you about liking me, you sacrificed yourself to make it easier for me, when in fact, I was the one who liked you, really." I was stunned as Emily blushed slightly. I looked at her, fled as she continued, "I want to be there for you, Michael, to support you." I nodded at her words and said, "And I want to be someone who can help you whenever you need it." Eventually, Emily and I went from being friends to lovers and got married. Years later, Harrison Diner and Emily's YouTube channel are still very popular. Emily has gained a little weight. She seems self-conscious about it. But when I tell her, "You're the most beautiful now," she smiles happily.